Hello, my name is Karl Schultz, and I'd like to share a little bit with you about a book that I've just completed called In Praise of Nonsense, an unapologetic approach to Pope-ular Catholicism. Why Catholic? Now, In Praise of Nonsense is a play on Desiderius Erasmus's 16th century best-selling book, In Praise of Folly, in which he satirized certain elements of European culture, superstitious practice amongst Catholics, and then some of the outrageous and what he considered scandalous behavior among some of the clergy and the hierarchy in the church. He didn't expect this book to do well, but it got very popular, and even some of the clergy had a sense of humor about it, which kind of fits. You know, for sanctity and sanity, you have to have a sense of humor. Theologians objected to it, which is not surprising because they'll always split hairs. Sometimes they're too full of abstractions and utopian. But anyways, Erasmus was a text critic. He was a great biblical scholar. He was responsible for the Greek text used to translate the King James Bible in 1611, and he was a Christian humanist, a scholar, and he chose to stay within the church. And he exchanged letters and debated with Luther, and he's a model for us today, because in a certain sense we're in a sort of Reformation period. We're recovering not only from the post-conciliar period, but from the clergy abuse crisis. We're in somewhat of a siege mentality, where certainly the culture in a post-Christian era is becoming more adversarial to us, and even in a certain sense persecuting. Laws are changed, healthcare areas, non-profit status, the media is anti-Catholic. There's many ways in which the church is being persecuted, and priests are under a microscope, even though it's only a very great minority that actually did these scandalous acts. So what we're going to try to do is first look at what are some of the real warts of Catholicism, because I'd rather you get the perspective of someone inside the church rather than listen to people outside the church in the media, in popular culture, or embittered former Catholics who perhaps aren't very objective about it and who don't know it from the inside. So I'm going to talk about some of the problems with the bishops and the priests and the administrators and the bureaucrats and the pastoral workers. And Pope Francis has discussed this in his encyclical Evangelium Gaudium in a section called Temptations to Pastoral Workers. Very, very insightful. So I'm going to address some of these negative points because I want people to recognize, yes, we know there's a lot of problems with the church, and we're slowly trying to remedy them. We're a big universal organization, and it takes us time to make changes, but we try to get to them. And we recognize them. And we're more equipped from the inside to change them than people are imposing it from the outside. After dealing with the cultural issues, the background, the problems, at least as I see them, then I go into the review of why Catholic, why be Catholic, why remain Catholic, why become Catholic. Many of the points that I'll raise are in other works on becoming Catholic or catechisms. First would be the unity of the Catholic Church. One holy Catholic and apostolic church. The tradition of the church. The great biblical tradition within the church in the modern times, which I will discuss in a separate talk. The Eucharist, the sacraments, the respect for culture, drama, literature, music, nature. All this, it's a rich life and a real embracing of the whole human dimension, all poles of human life. Paul VI wrote an encyclical, Pope-ular Progressio, on progress of peoples, and he dealt with human potential. As he says, the church is the masters in this, and he said this at the end of Vatican II in his closing message, because we recognize fully our own humanity as we do the humanity of Jesus. And then we have so many good models within the church: saints, scholars, everyday people, saints known and unknown, and culminating in the Holy Family. which again really brings that humanity in. The closer we get to the humanity of Christ, the closer we will get to our own humanity and accepting the humanities of others. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is to bring the humanness of Jesus out in the context of the humanness of the church, bad and good. And the Holy Family is my concluding point, because they did not have an easy time. We need to look at them and recognize they really had it tough, and they are a model for us when we have difficult times individually and familiarly and communally, pastorally. So that's what I'm trying to do in praise of nonsense. And I use the word nonsense because folly, although that's a more biblical term, I didn't want to plagiarize Erasmus, and I use nonsense because that's a good term for literally the crazy, irrational behavior you sometimes see within the church, just like you would in other organizations. So it's important we look at the good and the bad, the shadow and the sunny side, and ultimately the good far outweighs the bad, culminating in the beginning, ending, and center of the faith, Jesus Christ. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you. You can contact me at 386-323-3808. My email address is Karl with a K, A Schultz, SCHULTZ, at Juno, JUNO.com. My website's karlaschultz.com and karlpresents.com. Thank you for your attentiveness. Peace be with you, and shalom.